प्रभु ये इसको क्या हो गया?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna and welcome to the fourth day of the first residential of the GBC College for Leadership Development Zonal Supervisor course. A little overview. Today we'll have Rupanuga Prabhu the whole morning. Then after lunch, Rupanuga Prabhu will go back to his other duties. Then we'll continue with studying the three phases, three stages of organizational development in the afternoon. This afternoon we'll also have Gopinath Prasad, who will introduce us to the mechanics of using the platform, using the website, which will be your beloved companion for the rest of the course. So without further ado,
I'm okay. Thank you.
Rupanuga Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. Thank you for being here on time. And I know it has been quite an eventful morning and maybe time for a break already. But thank you for being here. And thank you for being here with me for the fourth day. That says a lot about the tolerance that we heard about this morning. So I'm glad that you're not getting agitated. So thank you for your forgiveness and for your tolerance. So, Praneshwar Prabhu, right? Praneshwar Prabhu. Your homework was due this morning? No? Maybe resolved from your end, not from my end. I want to see the homework. No? Okay. Please email me. We'd like to see. I'd like to share with everybody. Okay. That was a good question. And you had another good question that I haven't answered yet. If you have forgotten, it's okay. I'll still address. Okay, and everybody had something to do with the template, or there was nothing to do? I'm sorry? 3/4?
3/4 was okay.
3/4 was okay. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the template that you have, the SWOT template, where you had 5 strengths, 5 weaknesses, 5 opportunities, 5 threats. That is Appendix C, that loose sheet. Okay, everybody found this sheet? And from the impression I got yesterday is that you really liked the outcome of the sheet. You're happy about it. Yes? Okay. So just a couple of words of caution. One is that once again we have to resist the temptation to come up with strategies that are obvious, that we kind of already had thought about. The whole idea of strategic planning is to not think routine, to brainstorm, to think outside of the box. Okay? So use your creativity to fill up these 4 quadrants. Because the tendency is, I know I've been managing this zone, and now you're telling me this is the opportunity, this is the strength. Yeah, this is the obvious thing that I should do. Right? So let's avoid that trap. Push yourself, push your team to think aloud, think wild. That's when you will come up with brilliant solutions. Otherwise, you will get the same traditional answers that you already know, and then you will say, what's the point of doing this exercise? Right? Why go through this whole 2-3 days of exercise and come up with the solutions that I already knew I had to work on? Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is that when you fill up these boxes, that may not cover everything that's out there. Just to make sure that you have covered everything in your strategic plan, you identified opportunities, threats, strengths, weaknesses, and you come up with many ideas, and still that may not cover everything. So what is the other things that we need to? If you will once again go back to the pyramid sheet, this pyramid sheet. Okay. If you can't find it, it's there on the screen. So the pyramid that you received, it has 2 layers of markets, market 1 and market 2. And then it has 2 layers of products and services for different markets. But this is the original pyramid that this consultant had devised, that Gopal Bhatta Prabhu uses. And Gopal Bhatta Prabhu came up with this sheet that I shared with you. So this is the work of strategic planning team right here, and that's the original work from that consultant. So if you look at the bottom, it says your business concept, strategic mission, and your strategies. That's your foundation. You define your market. Who is your audience? Based on that, you define your products and services. So you are taking into consideration no. Do you see the red dot anywhere? I don't. But anyway, keeping in mind what your vision, what your mission, what your strategy is, core strategy, you define your market segments. We did the audience analysis already, but now you have to define which audience you want to serve. There may be so much, our friend Aniruddha Prabhu, he had how many different potential audiences? A lot of them, right? 20 some, 21 different potential audiences. 30? Okay. So now is the time to kind of, put that through a sieve and see which ones do we want to serve. Because we may not want to serve all of them. Some may not give us as much impact as we thought. Some may be really tiny. So why spend our effort? And they may need a lot of time to kind of develop our strategies for that market. So you define your markets based on the mission and vision statement that you have written, the values that you have, and then determine what kind of products and services. If you are with BBT, which type of books will suit the needs of which market segment. Resources. Up until now, we had put the resources aside. And once again, I want to underscore, when you are doing strategic planning, at the planning stage, don't be constrained by the resources. Because, same thing, if Prabhupada considered the resources that he had, he would not have left Vrindavan. Right? He had, what resources did he have? How much money did he have? 40 rupees that he could not even exchange back in those days into dollars. So when we are planning, let's not be constrained by our budgets, by our limitations. Let's think of the best plan that we can. And then who knows, some donor will come forward. We depend on Krishna for so many things. Why will Krishna not help us? If our plan is genuine, and if our plan is consistent with Krishna's plan, money will come. Okay? So after you have done your strategic planning, your market niche that you have developed, the products and services that you have identified, that's when you consider your resources. Okay, what do we have? What kind of people I have? You did that already in your strengths and weaknesses. But now, just to make sure that we didn't miss anything out, we are looking at the overall organization that we have. This sheet right here, the Appendix C, this template, this will give you many ideas. But we want to make sure we did not overlook a particular area or a department. So for that reason, we are going through this organizational pyramid, organizational development pyramid. Okay? So resources, we have technological resources, we have physical resources, the temple building, Govindas, all those things you are very well familiar with, your automobiles. You have financial resources, you have people, devotees, called human resources. Then there are systems that you have in place. You have an accounting system, you have prasadam production system, your kitchen, DD kitchen, you have your people who go out on Sankirtan. They are our marketing people. They are advertising for us. They are bringing us out to the public. They are our salespeople, so to say. And then the other persons that you have, your hiring policies, if you give any Lakshmi, how much you give them, or they're all volunteers. Okay, so that's operational systems. They keep the temple going, they keep the zone going. So these are called the operational systems. Then there are management systems. Management systems are more like support functions. The planning. You can work without planning too, right? Many people do. You heard of ready, fire, aim? People get ready, okay, I have to go cook, and let's go start cooking. And then you realize, oh my God, I don't have this vegetable, I don't have this spice. So then the planning comes later. Or you can say, okay, I have to cook, what ingredients do I need? You plan first, and then you fire. Okay. So in other words, planning is important, but people can manage without planning. So that's why it's a kind of a management system. Performance management system or performance measurement system. Things are going on in ISKCON if nobody checks performance, right? But if you monitor performance, maybe things will get better. So it's a support function. The structure, organizational structure, you may not appoint a leader. People will assume responsibilities. Some leader will pop up, right? Somebody will take responsibility for book distribution, somebody for cooking the feast or this and that. So it will manifest on its own. But you can be proactive and you can identify who will do what. So that's why these are called they're called management systems, but they are kind of also can be seen as support functions. That things will go on if they were not there. But if you really want to be effective, they are very important. Management systems are very important. And then based on all of these things, when people are working in these different areas, you are delivering these products and services, you are catering to these markets, you're using all these systems, management systems, operational systems to serve your customers. a certain behavior or a belief system in the organization develops. That's called culture. For example, different temples may have slightly different culture, right? Those are the norms. And you go to a particular temple, that's why when you go to a new temple, you ask Prabhu, so what do I have to do? Even though you have done the arti 1,000 times, but you still want to make sure, hey, how do you do it? So there may be slight variation. What comes first, what comes next? Not all temples sing Sachi Sutta Ashtakam, so they sing it here. You go to LA, they sing some other bhajan. So this is all part of the culture. People's behavior, their norms, our beliefs. The good thing is that we are to a large extent standardized in terms of following the spiritual principles. 4 regulative principles, 16 rounds, no compromise on that. That you will see everywhere, right? Morning programs, it may start 4:30, 5 o'clock, that's a different story, but morning program is there. So that's the culture, the values, beliefs, and norms. So why I'm bringing this up? I'm bringing this up that this is kind of a cross-check. We look at each and every area and make sure that we have addressed these areas, because some of these areas we may have a weakness that we might not have captured when doing weakness. We may have strength in some of these areas. In some of the markets, we may have an opportunity that we may not have captured. Okay? So just to verify that all the ideas that you got here, it's a complete list. If it's not, you take more from there. Some people do either or. Some people don't go this route. It's a matter of preference. They don't go this route. They do strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Then they get straight away to the pyramid and they look at what are the key result areas. What are the areas that will give me most impact? Which areas do I need to focus on? Which areas am I lacking in? Is it devotee care? Is it Sunday feast program? Is it prasadam that we are good at or not so good at? So they will pick those areas and then they come up with these strategies. Okay, what should I do? Come up with objectives. And then for objectives, they do goals, goals too. What's the next step after goals? Forgot? Objectives? Objectives to multiple goals, and then each goal leads to? No, we're not ready yet, okay. Goals are smart, yes, goals have to be smart, but after I set a goal, for example, one of our goals was to publish 300,000 extra Bhagavad Gitas by March 2018 by Kavi Karanpur. That was one of our goals. What's the next thing after the goal? Please use a microphone.
You need to have some measures in place so you can measure if you are achieving those goals.
Okay, you have to have measures to achieve those goals. Okay, good. And?
So KPIs.
Oh, key performance indicators, okay. What is to be done? Who will do it by when? Yes. What did we call it? Goals are smart. I had it written on the board, but it was not in the slide. Action, yes, action, actions. Plan of action, POA, okay. So you set a goal, it has to be put into action. You're right, you have to have measures too. How are we going to measure the performance? But before that, come up with an action plan. Who will do what when? Somebody said that. Who said who will do what when? Oh, that was you, Radheshyam Prabhu, good. Because we want to execute the plan. We don't want to make a plan, nice plan, and put it on the shelf for future generations. We want to execute. To execute, you will have to identify what actions. So then each goal will develop into actions. Okay. All right, any questions? Okay, we're going to get to that, Prabhu. Yes.
Prabhuji, quick clarification, when you're looking at that pyramid, what's recommended? You read the pyramid top down or bottom up for the maximum efficiency?
Okay. It starts at the bottom. Starts at the bottom and then we go up to the top. Even though there are no arrows going up or down, you can start, but the foundation generally. So you look at the foundation. That's what we have identified. You were not here in the afternoon, but we completed our strategic planning exercise, and we're going to now put it in the form of a strategic plan. Okay. Any other questions?
Prabhu, this the idea of the SWOT analysis that you said just now. So, as to be vigilant, the SWOT analysis can actually be utilized for each level of the pyramid to make sure that we don't miss out any areas that we have that we have overlooked. Is that how we use it?
I would do this first, come up
Okay.
with the strategies,
Yes.
and then just to make sure that I did not overlook anything, I look at the pyramid and
Okay.
I look at each and every area in the
Okay.
pyramid,
Okay.
okay, and see did I leave anything out,
Okay.
and where does the ideas that I get, where do they fit in that
Mm.
area?
Okay.
Is it related to market? Is it related to a product? Is it related to a production system? Is it related to accounting system?
Okay.
So when I'm doing that, I'm just kind of making sure that I did not overlook anything.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, one
Yes.
last question. Also on the pyramid, this culture that comes, is it largely, in one sense, defined also by our mission, core strategy? In other words, if there's a person who has an idea of how to start a center and he has a culture,
Our culture expert is going to address that question.
okay.
Pyramid?
Now, Rupanuga Prabhu, he was right when he said, answering Mataji, where do you start? You start at the bottom, you start at the top. In other words, you start at the bottom. I mean, it depends also what you mean by bottom. You mean the yellow, you mean the blue, okay? But once you start, say for instance, you look at your markets, you already have a sense of who you are. You already have a sense of identity, right? Here it says business concept. What business are you in? BBT, Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. It's not just any book. Strategic mission, print, distribute books. You got already an idea. Core strategy. Now, this is a manifestation of your culture. It's a manifestation of your values. Why you work for the BBT? Why don't you work for Amazon or Penguin? Because you already have some values. You think Srila Prabhupada's message is important. Beliefs. You believe in the Bhaktivedanta purpose. You believe in the Bhaktivedanta vision of the world. You follow? So when we talk about culture, culture is omnipervasive. There are norms, beliefs, and values at every level. Is that more clear? Does it help? Okay? So anything you do is based on the culture and produces culture. We'll talk about this on the last day, on the 18th. We'll spend about 3 hours on this. But for now, again, anything you do, you already have some values, some beliefs, and you do it in a certain way. You have some norms.
That's the first thing that we did. Very first thing. You remember when we looked at our strategic foundation? We looked at our values. And once again, this process is not a serial process. So let's not get trapped. Do I start from here? You start anywhere. You have to start somewhere. And then it's a cyclic process. We go back, review, revise. So we develop our mission and vision. Now let's go back and revisit our potential audiences that we had done before. Which one do we now want to pick? So we are revisiting over and over again till we get to an iteration which is final. Okay, let's now get to developing the strategy. You have all the pieces together. Now you have to put it together and get the puzzle in place. So put this together, what do we need? In the handout, the Appendix E that you got, that gives you the strategic planning. And the first page, Appendix E, the first page itself gives you the strategic planning framework. Now check how many pieces of this puzzle do you already have. Let's go start at the top. Mission and values. Do we have that? Yes? Okay. Do we have a vision statement for the BBT? Yes? Okay. Rough draft. Okay. Focus areas, key result areas. Now, as I said, this particular thing that comes from the pyramid. And I'll give you an example. Let's look at the next one, strategic objectives. We went through that, right? We identified strategic objectives. When we were making this template right here, we're filling up these boxes, SWOT template. We came up with objectives. The objective was, for this group, what was the objective? To increase production. Yes? Yeah, to reduce cost, we have to increase production. Okay. So that's the area, and then we came up with an objective to, what was the thing that do you have that down? So because there are different titles, so we looked at Bhagavad Gita, and we wanted to increase production of Bhagavad Gita by a certain amount. And then we got to goals where we said, by this date, we will print so many Bhagavad Gitas. Okay? And then after that goals, there are tactics. And after the tactics, there is an action. So from goals, we went straight to actions. We said, okay, our goal is to produce 300,000 Bhagavad Gitas by March 2018. So what is the action? The action will be somebody will have to procure the materials. You have to see if you have enough machinery or not. You may have to subcontract. Do you need to revisit the layout? So these are all the different actions. Okay. So let's now start putting this together. You have all the basic elements. So I want you to spend at least 30 minutes trying to draft, put these pieces together in the form of a document, because you have to present it to the BBT. Okay? And wherever you kind of hit a roadblock or you're not sure what to do, just let me know. I'll be walking around and I'll be helping you. Whatever you have, most of you have, for KRAs, you can go to the pyramid. Okay, let me give you an example of an KRA. In Appendix E itself, yeah, you turn the page over. Yeah, it tells you all the components right there. So key result areas, that's number 6 on page 3. So it says, when our spiritual society is viewed from above, this is for ISKCON. It is important to determine key result areas that the team is most interested in improving. So list the key result areas. These are broad areas of your overall responsibility to your temple, to your region. Performance or lack of performance in each of these key result areas has a critical impact on the achievement of your region. Examples are, if you go down to the table, expanding outreach. is a key result area. If you expand outreach, it will have a significant impact on your organization. Now, expanding outreach, you could have gotten that same thing from this template right here when you're doing opportunities and threats and strengths and weaknesses. You're not so convinced? We have not done, but we did this sheet right here. Yeah, so from there, what you are picking, you can go the pyramid route and pick a KRA, or you can go this route, but you came up with some ideas, the solutions. Oh, you did not go through this full? You done that, okay. So let's. It, okay. I would, given the time that I have, I would skip that step because you got enough ideas over here, okay? So you can call it whatever you want to call it, but these ideas are in certain areas, right? Cultivation, outreach, devotee care. So these are key result areas, and they will also stem from this analysis right here. For the BBT, let's look at some of the things that you have. If you are broad enough, not simply publishing books, if you go by the other purposes, where you have to educate people in Krishna consciousness and have. No, the first day when we did the values, right? And we said, if we look at the 7 purposes of ISKCON, the 7th one was directly related to BBT. Do you remember publishing books? But then you were creative. You came up with other things. And yesterday when we developed the mission or vision statement, can you please read that? Or was it your group, Building Temples? Please.
Inculcate the culture of Vaishnava principles among all Indians through the teachings of Srila Prabhupada by producing, publishing quality materials and help build temples.
Okay. So the first part is inculcate the culture. Inculcate the culture of
Vaishnava principles.
Vaishnava principles through teachings of Srila Prabhupada. That's a very broad statement. It's not simply about printing books and distributing books. Okay. So again, you don't have to go that broad. You can have a narrow vision for your BBT. That's fine. But whatever it is, that will result into certain things that you have to do, right? So those things that you have to do, and this one, these examples are not BBT examples, what you're seeing here on page 3 of Appendix E. Do you all have that? Let's go through this. I did one yesterday for the BBT on the board, whiteboard, but let's do one related to ISKCON. Expanding outreach. Okay, you know what? If you turn the page over, please turn, hold on. No, stay on this. Stay on page 3 and then we'll go to the page. Yeah, so no, from here, this follows to the next page. So page 3, look at expanding outreach. That's a key result area. Okay. Look at the strategic objective that comes from this key result area. The first one, how do you expand your outreach? Can somebody read? Please take the microphone.
We will increase overall book distribution in the next year at a rate of 20% increase in remittances to the BBT. We will revive and increase the Namhata program.
No, that's it.
Oh, sorry.
Just the first one.
Okay.
Let's stick to the first one. So the first one, so there are different things that you can do to expand your outreach. So the first one is related to increasing your book distribution. You can also increase your Namhatas, and the third one is having a new website, Facebook page.
If you read it carefully, that it says 20% increase in remittances to the BBT. So which means, they're talking about the bottom line. So which means,
Say it louder again.
I said the rate of 20% increase in remittances to the BBT, which means that, that 50% whatever, 50% what we give, if that's going to be 20%, then, our number should be something else. So that should be properly measured.
Did you follow that? What you give to the BBT is cost, but generally we distribute books as ×2, right? If people still do it. That's the formula. If you buy a book for $2, you sell it for $4. Yes? Doesn't happen in all temples these days, but that's the basic principle. So what he's saying is that even though we are increasing our remittances to the BBT by 20%, actual increase in book distribution will be much more. In the revenues that we get, that will be higher. Okay, so now turn the page over. So that's our objective. We want to increase the payments we make to the BBT by 20%. Turn the page over and look at the objective statement at the bottom of page 4 in that box. So that objective, so the key result area was we wanted to expand outreach. We want to reach out to more people. One way of doing that is increase our book distribution. To increase book distribution, you will have to buy more books from the BBT. Okay, so that's the objective. What are the goals? If I want to increase my book distribution by 20% measured through the money paid to the BBT, what are the various goals? Please take a mic and let's start reading. Let's start here with Keshav Murari Prabhu. So are you all with me so far? We are expanding our outreach. That's the key result area. A strategic objective is to buy more books from the BBT, give 20% more to the BBT, meaning we increase our book buying by 20%, right? If we have more books, we'll be able to reach out to more people. Now let's see what are the goals for this particular objective. Please read the first goal, Akrura Das.
Akrura Das will determine the total result of 2015 books distribution, both in terms of quantities of books,
Quantities of books.
quantities of the books, the price of each book, and the total remittances of money to the BBT by January 15th.
Okay. Now, is this a SMART goal? Okay, how is it SMART? How is it specific? Clearly defined? Okay, no ambiguity? Okay, so is it measurable? Accountable? Somebody is accountable? Akrura Das is accountable? Is it realistic, relevant? Yes? And is it time bound? By January 15th. So that's the goal. Let's read the next one.
Charu Das will create a full range of book distribution methods that can be deployed. He will consult with the several yatras that have been expanding book distribution, including St. Joseph Temple led by Vaiseshki Prabhu by January 15th.
Okay, again, sounds like a SMART goal?
Yes.
Okay. So like that, you get the idea. So there are multiple goals for this objective. So one is that somebody has to look at the total results of 2015 book distribution. How many books we bought, what was the price, how much we paid to the BBT. Then somebody else has to look at the different methods that can be used for book distribution, because we have to now sell 20% more books. What are the different methods we are going to use? Let's read the third one. Aniruddha Prabhu.
Damodar Das will determine how many devotees in the congregation have an interest in participating in book distribution methods during the year and order sufficient copies of Vaisheshika Prabhu's book, Our Family Business, to be given out to these devotees by February 1st.
Okay, so now to distribute 20% more books, you need distributors. You can't go to a recruitment agency and ask for 20% more brahmacharis, right? So you go to the congregation, right? Find out who is interested in helping out. So somebody will find out who might be interested in participating in book distribution methods. And in the second step, we will look at different book distribution methods. There may be a monthly Sankirtan festival, door-to-door book distribution, weekend warriors. So we'll get into those details, but we're not there yet. That's a broad goal that we have set. When we develop each one into action plans, that's when we get into the details. So the third one is somebody will have to find who is interested and give them a copy of the book. How many of you are familiar with our family business book that Vaisheshika Prabhu has written? Hey, all right, good, good. You should all read that. There is a course by Vaisheshika Prabhu on book distribution. It's an online course. And I'm going to, when I go back, I'm meeting with Vaisheshika Prabhu. We are revisiting that course, and we might have you read that book, Our Family Business, or parts of it, as part of that course. So that book has to be given out to these devotees. We identify who these people are, who are going to help us with book distribution. Next, Chaitanya Hari Prabhu.
Gargamuni Das will create a schedule of at least 6 classes that will encourage book distribution and deepen our understanding of its importance. Then invite all of the devotees interested to these classes by February 1st.
Okay, so we have to also train these devotees. Somebody may find these devotees, but then we have to train. To train these devotees, we're going to create a schedule, offer 6 classes, and again, there's a timeline. So, note the, yes, Prabhu.
Right?
That they call it their objective statement. That's a strategic objective. We want to increase our book distribution by 20%.
Right.
Goals are what we saw here. They are not calling that as a goal. But go ahead, ask your question.
Yeah, so like here you are saying we here in India we do different way, such as we go to a factory owner, we talk to him, he sponsors all the book,
Okay.
and end of the month when the salary day, he puts a notice that a free book available for all of you, which have been no company. We don't have to do anything, just we go and deliver the book and they distribute the book.
Perfect. So the second goal, if you read Charudas, will create a full range of book distribution methods. How are we going to distribute these books? So the method that you suggested, that will be one of the methods. So you can find corporate sponsors and distribute it to the employees, right? The other strategy will be the traditional, going on the streets and distributing books. Third one, do a monthly Sankirtan festival.
So all these 4 are 4 different goals.
These are 4 different goals, but within each goal, there will be multiple actions. Okay? And now if you read the note, the above goal statements are only a starting point. More goal statements would most probably be required if the overall objective were to be realized. This is not an exhaustive list, just a sample. Please.
Like these 4 goal statements, each one supports the one prior. Is that normally how it would look? Because these ones, each one of these, it's like the first one is broken down by the second one, is broken down by the third one, broken down by the fourth one.
Good observation.
You can do it however.
You can do it
Okay.
whichever way, yes. But the point is we have to meet the objective. To meet the objective of 20% increase in book distribution, and in this case, 20% increase in BBT payments, what do we do? Okay, so if we turn the page over, so we got these 4 different goals. Now each goal statement, and let's see if we get Devakinandan Prabhu's suggestion here. So this second goal, that was Charudas's goal, that is now broken down into multiple action. We are looking at the table that's there. So Charudas has to create a range of book distribution methods that can be deployed. So can somebody We are looking on page 5. Page 5, that's the, can you please pass it on? Charu Chandra Prabhu.
Action times are the tax that
No, no, let's read in the table. This
This-
first point, this
oh.
first point.
first done. Council with our BBT trustees to determine those jatras that are most successful in book distribution on a worldwide basis.
Okay, so what they are doing is to find out which methods to use. They are going to those temples, those yatras that have a successful record of book distribution in the world. And they're going to consult with them and ask them, how do you distribute books? For example, Devkinandan Prabhu gave that brilliant idea. To find out who these BBT trustee, they may know, for example, our North American BBT, they publish a monthly, quarterly newsletter that tells us who distributed how many books. There is a World Sankirtan newsletter that comes out.
Just look at the annual results
Yeah.
and the list of the top 5 temples in congregational book distribution. Bunk, 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 they're all there.
Good. I agree with you. So this information is available in different places, and they chose to go this way. They want to use a more personal approach, not use an impersonal approach. Because when you use a personal approach, you can find out how did they do. Because sometimes people get creative with getting the numbers up. You know what I mean, right? To become top 1, top 2, top 3, you can buy a lot of books and then put in the warehouse. You might not have distributed. So when you go ask a trustee, they know their region, they know who is actually distributing or not. Okay, I'm just speculating here, okay, so please don't quote me on this. Okay, the second one, Gaurmani Prabhu.
Consult with Vaisheshika Prabhu directly to see what book distribution methods he has developed.
Okay, Vaisheshika Prabhu is the Acharya of book distribution, as you know. And he has methods, so consult with him. So what we are doing is, we are also consulting with other people. And the fourth one is searching BBT and ISKCON websites for ideas. Speak with leading book distributors. Search ISKCON Desire Tree for any lectures by leading book distributors and inspirational leaders. So again, there is a note, the above examples might not be the total amount of tasks needed to realize the goal. So there may be another ways of doing it. But this is just a sample, just to give you an idea how a goal is divided into various action items.
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have a chat with the Minister for Book Distribution.
Yeah, certainly not. Okay. Okay, so any questions on this? So basically what you're doing is we had identified big areas of improvement, right? And we're breaking it down systematically. Okay, if you don't like this framework, you don't have to follow it. I mean, if you are bogged down by objective, goal, this, that, but it has to, it's a systematic way of breaking it down. Okay. I'm happy that you're nodding this way, not this way. Good. But it depends which part of the world you are from. This could mean.
What is this third point?
I'm sorry, Prabhu?
What is this third point? In certain cases, action items are not required.
Because the goal statement directly. Good observation, Radhesham Prabhu. Please read. Please pick up that thing.
In certain cases, action items.
So this is number 9, page 5. If you see item number 9, create action items. And in that third bullet point,
In certain cases, action items are not required because the goal statement directly implies or creates clarity of what needs to be done to achieve the goal.
okay,
However, in the other cases, there might need various action items to reach the goals.
Okay, so that answers any doubts that you might have, or it substantiates the statement that I made, that you don't have to necessarily follow this methodology. So if you get clarity early on, it's okay. If you get to figure out who will do what when, that's fine too. That's right, yes. And if you read, let's read the other 2 points too. So the first point under 9, let's give it to our Bhakti Prabhu. The first item under 9. Please use microphone. Microphone, please. Microphone.
This one, no? Charudas will create a full range of book distribution methods that can be deployed.
No, no, no.
Which one? The first one. Okay. Action term are the tasks that you must do to reach a specific goal.
Okay, so that we know, right? Action items you have to do to reach the specified goals. Okay, let's go across here. Chaitanya Avtari, you have a microphone. So please read the next bullet point.
Many goal statements are so clear and relatively simple that the tasks associated with them are self-explanatory. Yet other goal statements might have more clarity if the tasks required to realize the goal statement were specified.
Okay. All right, so let's give it to Maharaj.
Third one.
Fourth one. Third, he already
Okay.
read.
In addition, where your goal requires multiple people involved, it that might require you to define actions items in order to clearly assign responsibility.
Okay, so if your goal requires multiple people, then you may have to define action items to assign responsibility. Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. If you turn the page over, go to page 6, everything that we just read is presented in this tabular form. So we are up to goal statements in that, not the action items. But you could also add action items if you wanted to. So you see your key result area is outreach. Outreach is a department, right? Sankirtan department. So if you are going by the pyramid, Sankirtan department. In Sankirtan department, objective is to increase overall book distribution. That's measured by payments to the BBT, 20%. What are the goals? We read through all those goals. Well, at least the first two we read. And then we also read the action items. But in this template itself, they have identified goals, due date, and who is responsible to do. Okay, so as I said, once again, we presented to you this methodology. I understand there are many new terms that you may not have been familiar with. But let's follow the principle of strategic planning. You may not always be able to sit down with 5 people and spend a few months and develop a strategic plan. But at least when you have been through this presentation, there are certain concepts that are ingrained in your head. So your mindset, hopefully, is changed to be thinking more strategically, thinking towards the future. You're looking at the forest and not always looking at the trees. It's good to know the trees too, but if you are always counting the trees, you are not looking at the future. You know, Prabhupada's statement about looking at a mountain from a distance looks like a hazy cloud. Okay. All right, I have successfully put some people to sleep. Yes? Okay, so time to get to action now. Let's work with our teams and spend 35 minutes. Put everything together. Let somebody start typing up because you're going to send this report to me at some point and we'll share it with the BBT. It's not in here. Yeah, no, not in this one. This is only the objectives to goals to action items. Okay. KRA for BBT? what are the various, so you can do KRA or you can just go by the objectives that you got from the SWOT template. Okay? Otherwise, if you want to KRA, we can, do you want me to do that? Okay. Let's see.
box template. Make box.
Yes, Prabhu, just give me a minute. I got another request here. And let's see. It's not this.
It is no wastage of time. They made two bins as
Okay. 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 Okay, Prabhu's. Radhe Shyam Prabhu asked me, what are the KRAs for a BBT? You know, for a temple, you understand. You know, outreach, devotee care, your prasadam kitchen or DD kitchen, these are your KRAs, right? What are the KRAs for a BBT? Here are some examples. A BBT, for example, you can look at the departments. They have a supply chain meaning somebody is ordering the books. Before you order, you are designing the books. You order the books arrive, taken into the warehouse. From warehouse, they are shipped to the temples. So that's called the supply chain. Okay? So that's one area. Or you can break it down, warehouse. Right? Warehouse is a department. Okay? Somebody has to handle the payments. It's called order to cash system. It's a system. Remember, systems were part of the pyramid? So order to cash system. So you place an order, books arrive, and you pay cash to your vendor. Okay. Customer service, that's another KRA. It may be lacking, but it's a KRA, right? So customer service, and then you focus within that. So if you want to go by KRAs, you can look at the major functions, major departments within the BBT. Okay? And then after that, go to strategic objective. Or straight away go to the objectives that you got from the SWOT template. Okay? Okay? All right. Here is another one. Somebody is doing marketing, partnership with temples. So you can divide it up whichever way you like. Customer service, collection, that's another one, right? Somebody has to collect the funds from the temples. Okay. Yes, Rishi Kumar Prabhu, or Rishi Prabhu. Oh, just for me? Okay.
I guess find that between these two, there's some amount of confusion.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking that straight.
What is our KRA?
We'll come to that level. Just make this.
difference between the two? What is the difference between the two? Not similar. Both are strategic planning. They give first this one. Both are strategic planning.
More work you get done here, the less you have to do at home. Because you are going to create a report. Your choice, whatever takes possible. You only have 30 minutes for the exercise.
This diagram is only common. When you're making a strategic plan, when you set the strategic plan, a lot of stuff you should have a mission, we have, then you should have environmental plan. Like how far back, first you went to this,
Then organizational plan.
like that. So I can do this, I can do this, so that environmental plan. Then organization, whatever I'm thinking, whether I can support, the organization will take it up. Then key strategic issues. Whether we can do all of this, that's how we develop.
This same thing in there. Then?
This is from there, you build down the other actions. This is from the bigger picture. So this that's what I'm saying, don't look at this diagram and look at this. The contents are different.
But what is the strategic plan? This is strategic plan, this is a strategic plan. Strategic plan is strategic plan.
This is to think logically, to help you think logically. This is actually to execute logically.
This is non-action, that is theory.
Yes, correct. That is theory, this is practice.
Practice.
Okay, what's the here in your for us? Refer to our work, what you've done, extensive work. Production, increase in production, increase in production.
With optimized rate.
So you need to increase the production. That is one of the KRA.
With optimized rate.
Okay, so that is what is our objective. Increase the production volume goes up, cost will come down. That's our objective. So we say we are going to increase our production. That's our KRA. And how we do it, what is the goal, all those things. I'm not going back and forth. I want you are working.
Only carry only one.
We work only one. How much you have?
Only one. No, as you give a report. Huh?
Another can be customer care. Customer care is maximum number.
You can also say production planning.
No, better this wording you gave na, as it looks nice. Optimize cost by printing more
That is
books.
objective statement.
No, not carry.
That is objective statement.
So carry only production increase.
Production planning.
Right.
Production plan. So we look at those.
Okay. Next year, increase overall book distribution. Will increase overall book. No, objective will increase overall book distribution by 20%. Book production 20% by.
Now we need to give this some number.
Huh.
We said optimize cost.
To 20%.
So something like that you have to
20% by 2017, 18.
So I'm going to use the same thing. See, I'm going to use the same word, but with the number.
Number, yeah. So will increase overall production by 2018, 20%.
So I'm just converting it to more.
20% by 2018.
So say that again. Optimize.
Will increase overall book production overall production 20% by 2018.
20% now.
20%. Increase 20%.
Enough for us for cost optimization.
In 1 year, no, no, in 1 year 20% is enough. Like realistic figure you should give.
Okay, but nobody's going to question this. Goal statement.
Goal statement.
20% to bring down the.
What state you said?
Another is the objective statement you can give. You can.
Once you finish, you can keep writing. We'll finish one.
Goal statement.
By when?
2018.
No, you have to give the date, month, everything. 2018.
No, it says.
1st January 2018.
It says next year. No date is here. Date will be in goal statement.
Give 2018.
By October 2018.
Better.
Okay, so.
Goal statement more specific. Here you can give 2018.
What do you want to say in goal statement?
You have to assign someone work. And he will determine.
No, that we will say. That will say. You can say that, one particular location or one particular, we should, if you have to increase by 20% overall production, then we cannot say our goal is we are producing overall many books. So if you have to achieve this 20%, Bengali should be 5%, Oriya should be 7%. Like that, that is goal. Right? So all put together it increases 20% overall. So we can say goal percent.
But here is the
No matter this we are saying overall.
There is overall. But
here, overall book distribution
20%.
in the next year
Okay, so by
at a rate of 20% increase in remittance.
for 2018. Okay. So now we need to give the breakup. So if you have to achieve 20% overall production, 5% Bengal book should be increased. So that where that increase will come, or everything will just boom on 20% in English, or
But another thing, if Hindi 5% increase, Bengali 5% increase, Oriya 5%, that means total 5% increase, not 10%.
no. You see, overall if you see, all put together, I'm saying giving an example of 5%. But the volume will also be more number as 5% of Bengali will be, say, 1 lakh books. 10% of Oriya will be only 50,000. So we are saying that the volume, overall volume will change based on the number of volume we produce here.
But the 5% will not be 20%. With some different part.
Yeah, because Bengali already say we are selling say 1 lakh books. Hindi, say Oriya, we are selling only 50,000. So 5% increase in Bengali is what? Already 5,000. 5% in Oriya will be only 2,500. Sorry, 1,250. So that will not constitute to overall 20%. So that's why I'm saying that share. We can complexly build it, or we just say the 20% increase by Bengali. How do you want it? And practically putting it. Or now we want to increase by 20%. Then 20% increase, now we are putting only English. 20% directly right, 20% English, only English will go down. Now we are saying that, we are not saying anything book production. Book production by 20%. So which you will produce more?
Some volume should go more than 20%. Some volume should go more than 20%. Otherwise 20% will not cover. That is in Hindi. We will consult with some government to establish Bhagavad Gita in their colleges. That will increase 50% in Hindi belt. Give some wording like that. Then we will consult the Madhya Pradesh government to establish their Bhagavad Gita curriculum, so that by that we will give 50% of Bhagavad Gita. That type of wording. No, that thing, that point we are discussing.
We can say, we'll say one directive. Increase the Bengali Bhagavad Gita by say 10%.
Yeah.
And next.
Which maximum number we should give a specific point.
We say that so and so will go and talk to the government of India, Department of Education, check when the government order will be issued. So that based on that we can within this time we can increase the production of Hindi books.
But we are in India, no?
Loose? Something happened. अच्छा ये वाला बैटरी
Have you anything? You read something?
It's my own zone,
How
my
do you-
own.
No, tell me. How do you tell?
It's in Russian. It is in text.
Tell something. Tell.
I did the same situation, but without this one.
How do you have written?
Check the previous year production record to arrive at the actual of the overall volume to arrive at the
No, I don't.
say 20%. You don't even know what is the last year number.
Check the previous year production records to arrive at the actual number of overall books.
Here it is generalized. Here this is specifically October soon written.
Yeah.
So you have to give a no, name is already against.
No, without knowing that, how you can say 20% I will do that? You will check previous year. That means you have not checked previous year. Then how you can say 20% you will do that?
No, this is something which your management decided will do 20%.
that they forget. I mean, they didn't do it themselves. I only did one on the board. They seem to have got it with that example. So you seem to be.
Yes, they have given the name now.
Even the responsible person is Amol Khan.
But
The same day,
No, no. They are doing the whole strategic plan
that's
with action. Yes.
that's
this item you want only use
Oh, I mean, they are putting all the pieces together. They had,
No need of writing this twice.
no, no.
Then you consult the government to.
So next point is that. Now you tell me what the next point is. Now that why I wrote this, we don't even know what is the previous book. Now as you know, the directors or journal supervisors, you said that increase by 20%. Now these people who are running, I think Maharaj told you, last year.
This is a misunderstanding.
So they now come back with their number. Now that we need to drill down to the next. What is the next item?
Discusses Madhya Pradesh government to government to state Bhagavad Gita syllabus for the
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Now we are taking all books.
no need of giving books now. No need
Hare
of
Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Because already government has allowed to Bhagavad Gita as a particular. That is a Bhagavad Gita. Only Bhagavad Gita. Other books they will not take, no? Only Bhagavad Gita. For us, all books are equally important, but for them, Bhagavad Gita. All books, but especially we are giving emphasis in there. Make a team of devotees to go to the different temples to inspire them. This is Prabhupada's book more and more. Make a team.
Talk to the regular buyers.
Regular buyers.
Communicate with the regular buyers. What would be their annual requirement for 2018. Okay? So now I'm supplying to all of you. So I'm going to talk to you. So how much you want this year?
Talk to and inspire them.
So I want to achieve my 20%. So I said, okay, take 10%. So this one person will do.
Huh?
Also now we will also put congregation up. Regular.
Congregation also attached to any temple, no?
Yeah, so it's part of the temple. So we say that, conduct book. We are BBT. We can't conduct it. We are BBT. Don't forget that we are not ISKCON, we are BBT.
The temple, we should inspire the temples. The two things we can do there.
Communicate with the regular way. That is our
The two things we can do.
we should talk about the internal part.
Yes, first thing, we should ask if they have any special requirement, any books, any language, and second thing, we should inspire distribute more books. Can it be one word or two words?
Inspire them to, that's what we said in the morning. Communicate with regular players, what would be their annual requirement. That's inspiration.
Yeah, maybe one word is enough.
What else we do?
another point you can give, like, we will, but what, they are like, Krishna Das will communicate.
We can also check internally how prepared our production team are.
That is it.
So that we should also say the capacity enhancement.
Increase transport facility. Oh, decentralization. Why don't one person should, okay, Mari. That is written there. Why another point, like, one person should search if they can print locally with the low cost and higher qualities. What is the problem of searching that? The transport cost will decrease. Transport cost will decrease. And no need a specific place, but the transport cost will save, and anytime they can. Like what happens, the BBT will give order to Delhi, Janaki Express, Janaki printer, I think. They are printing from Delhi, bringing to Mumbai, and from Mumbai they are sending to Ujjain. So why not they are directly from there? They would not control. Why if they can do that, we can do that from Ujjain also. Why they search?
Explore the possibility of printing them locally. The capacity enhancement is challenged.
Production point. Any this point you want to give? Any other point? This is only production point. You want to point one. So another point. What is that paper? This one. This one. Internal weakness, explore the option of producing e-books using as government provide. Explore the option of printing e-books. It's not important. It's not important.
Say that in a website summary, increase the communication, engagement with the buyers. We are not talking to the buyers. We say how we will sit with them. So
Already one point is covered there.
that is something else.
Distributing. Temple is where?
Our relationship is so that we understand, communicate. Demand supply will be easier. One of the points we and ineffective demand supply estimation. See one of the points. That will also be part of the KRA.
This one, increase ineffective demand supply estimation. But that is in the weakness, but our planning is increase engagement of the buyer to understand the change requirement. It's something so that by reading they will become frustrated. This one, yeah, increase engagement of the buyer, of the buyers. And understand the change of the buyers. And understand the change because the people are buying what they want. Someone, I know. And understand the change required. Like,
And they are requirement.
No, understand the change like
Understand the change.
required. Like अभी आप बोलते हैं क्या? तो हमेशा बाद में बुड्ढे हैं बड़ा अक्षर चाहिए. So that is, those are distributing. They know what problem they are facing. Engagement of the still wording. Increase engagement of the buyers. I don't know. Chetana Vadari Babu, what is the meaning? Increase engagement of the buyers.
Engagement means I don't talk to you.
Increase engagement of the buyers.
I don't talk to you. I'm BBT. I don't talk to you. I know there's a person called Bakshi Prem for us. Whenever I see a male, he means whether I don't know whether he exists or not.
Communication skill.
Engagement, dialogue. So in the Mara sometimes I'll be Chutney Avakari about it. Yes, Mara is doing so. Is there any way I can help you? Can we meet once in a month when you're passing the side? Come to my office. Let's meet. Let's have prasadam together. So he's saying I'm going to Orissa. A lot of some information you give me, I will also process the information. Based on that, I will also plan my thing. That's the increased relationship.
So that is the engagement with the buyer, with the
Engagement with the buyers. With the buyers and understand the change required.
So Maharaj, this is one I wrote, demand supply management. Okay.
another
Ascertain the realistic demand from the buyers to effectively manage the supplies.
This is the second one.
Yes, for this one. Last one we are discussing now. For
No.
this one.
This one and this one come this one. This point and this point cover this point. Now give some requirement.
So what do you want to do?
Ask if there needs any local translation or books or not. The team.
Regular communication protocol.
One point, like we should ask them, they need local translation of book, any book record or not. Like Kerala, they may say we have no books in Kerala language. So for the preaching, we have to create some. Just like make it, I don't know that. Malayalam. Just example. Next point, another, no, this is give another point. Like in Mizoram, see there is no temple. If there is one temple, they may be distribution more. So help ISKCON to build one temple in Mizoram so that our distribution will increase in Mizoram state. With Eastern Jubilee Regional Secretary of Eastern State of ISKCON to start one temple in Regional Secretary or GBC, whatever you know. Can you put somewhere the succession? Can you put any on the succession?
Only one person communicating. Identify level
No, I think that point will come on. Succession may be come in the outreach. Huh? Succession, I mean, whom, where is this one? Second one? Demand supply? Succession of BVT.
No, we can give separate point. We have to, it has to come here.
That is that's the third point.
So you don't want this?
No, that one okay. I think if I level up between both BVT and
I'll put one more point now.
Succession should be third point here.
Yeah, okay.
KRA. Get the wording. Young, energetic. To ask SPT to help in this connection.
Strategic planning network. It's all order. It's order, not a
Succession under SPT, no? Study planning committee, there's so many subdivision.
Another organization development. SPS? It should be organization development.
I don't know. Gopal Bhatta movement, you know. हाँ. How to get one point like that? So that ISKCON leaders should feel BBT our project. Then every ISKCON leader, I don't know what is happening in BBT. So
No ISKCON devotee, fundamentally don't know that ISKCON is separately exists. And everybody is thinking ISKCON books are available, so it's all here.
but BBT ISKCON devotees. That is why as BBT is not exploring them, that is nobody feel ISKCON will feel is our project. So BBT should do something, the leader should feel it is our project.
Not only BBT, we should also speak about it.
Yeah, because if until BBT is not giving that chance, how you can say like that? Even BBT's side should give that opportunity. Not destroy, it is knowing. That is why our proposal. That is why we should give our
Something happened this on BBT.
we will not interfere, that's relationship. We feel part, like if anything happens in BBT, we feel oh it is our loss. In the same way, once the relationship more, we feel more.
Nothing will happen.
Huh?
No, nothing, because they have just seen. Also BBT is very qualified. All the price circulation quality.
You give a certain time also given, no? 2017, 17 everything. March and so quickly. Give realistic time, 31st March. Give realistic time.
What time you want?
It takes time.
It's not immediate, Maharaj. On mail, email, Maharaj, you know, why you want it?
No, they want some realistic figure actually. For once.
This is a request sent from all the things for their experts. You know, like, I want this. Right on the
Give some time. Give 30.
writing a mail, not a big deal.
Because so that they can use our Asurabana to show that. Oh, 40, 45 is 40 minutes past. Real brainstorming. Finished. Finished.
Finished?
Yeah.
We did KRA, we showed. Took one KRA or you listed
Three.
all KRA?
Three carry.
Three only, okay. Okay.
Cost of implementation, increase overall, check out the previous year's production, check that down, blah, blah, blah. Reading?
I'm reading.
Discuss with the
Also you have big goals, so I want to scroll down, so then demand, supply management, okay, okay. So you ascertain realistic demand, okay. All right, roll up. And what's the other here?
Third one, succession.
Succession plan. So these you thought were the three most important things. Fine. So you feel comfort?
Increase more book distribution, temple and succession. Three more.
Good. Okay. So let me ask you this. When you go back to your zone with the information that you have now, will you be able to teach a group of 5 people this process that you learned?
Yeah, I'll try to do that.
You try to do that? And then
At least in our temple.
make them a part of your team and work on a strategic plan for your zone with them. You feel confident? Yes?
Or any project only for book distribution.
Any project.
Or any.
No, that will be strategic plan for your zone.
Yeah, for any.
Overall zone, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Good?
Any festival also.
Okay, yes, for anything. No, but that will be your action learning project. Part of this college, when you go back home, there is a project that you have to work on. That project is to develop a strategic plan for your zone. Using the same method, you have to come up with a plan for your zone. How are you going to expand your zone? Where do you see it 10 years down the road?
Now we're 50 years. After 50 years, the first time hearing, and it's very difficult.
Okay, my next question is, would you like to continue with this or do you think you are finished with it? We have 1 more hour. I can cover a new topic. I can talk about quality. How do you manage improved quality in your zone or in your temple?
Quality, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It won't be information overload?
No, no, no,
or
no,
so
no.
much new stuff?
This is done. So, Russia. Russia already flies.
Estonia. Estonia. It is native place of Skype.
Education?
Skype. You know Skype?
Skype.
Skype calling. It is made in Estonia. In small
Russian
country.
devotee is more intelligent.
It's not Russia. It is nearby. I can show.
Estonia, Latvia,
I can show about it.
Estonia near Russia, no? Language Russian.
Scandinavian language. Okay. Good.
Looks like Russian language, no?
This is Russia. This is Sweden. Sweden, Baltic Sea. And this is Estonia. Small.
Which one Baltic?
Baltic countries, yes. Baltic Sea.
Baltic means?
Baltic in this language.
This is Baltic Ocean.
Yes.
Russia is this one.
Yes, I can.
How do you know this language?
This is Russian. This is Baltic three countries.
What are this?
Estonia
Estonia?
and Latvia. Lithuania.
Oh, so this is
Yeah, Baltic.
Yugoslavia, see it,
Yeah.
This was Yugoslavia.
Oh no, Yugoslavia. Oh,
Estonia.
Yugoslavia is this place. Near Italy. Yugoslavia is this. It is another. This Baltic Sea. It's very cold place. Finland, Sweden.
Sweden.
Yes, it is a last part. You can, okay. Yes, it is Finnish. Finnish now it's northern part. Oh, it's Greenland. It is Greenland. Yeah, it is Canada. Greenland, and we. And this is pretty small, very small.
Yes.
Very small, yes.
So Skype started from here.
Yes. Yes. Very interesting person. Yes. Estonian.
You are from Estonia.
I preach in Estonia.
Is there different borders is there?
No, it is part of Europe. No borders.
It's part of Europe. So
Euros.
you don't need if I Schengen visa. So
Yes.
Schengen visa is enough. Perhaps not to require
Any country
visa for
in Europe, any country.
any country can go.
Not England, not United Kingdom, not Norway, all another. All.
So I am going every year. Holland. So from there I can go.
Holland, it's
How is Holland?
this, Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Yeah, this. It is possible to reach.
Amsterdam, how is this?
Yes.
What is this one?
It's Berlin, it's Germany.
Germany.
Yes. This is Germany and small
Amsterdam,
Holland. Yes.
Holland, Germany, then
Poland.
Poland.
And after them,
It's too far, huh?
no, very cheap. Oh, possible to travel, no problem.
Russia.
Big, very big. I was born, I can show you where I was born. Hey, Krishna. Maybe here.
You from Russia?
Yes, here.
So from here you went there?
My grandmother was from Finland.
Who?
My grandmother was from Finland.
Finland.
My grandfather from Poland.
Poland.
I am staying between.
So you can visit anywhere. You're citizen of Russian or European?
Yes, Russia.
Russia.
Residence of Europe. Residence of Europe, but passport.
As Russian passport. You can stay anywhere.
Skype. Remember about Estonia?
Hare Krishna. So there are at least 3 groups who have completed the assignment. 4th is almost finished. This group right here, one group I won't identify, they need to polish it because they got straight away to action items and they skipped goals in between. And then there is one group that's going really into depth, and they have done 1 KRA, all the strategic objectives. They took 1 strategic objective, developed goals and action items. So one group would like to continue with this assignment. Actually, 2 of them would like to continue with doing the same assignment. The other 4 groups that I talked to, they were okay moving on to the next topic, which is quality. How do we define quality for your zone? What does it mean? How do we measure it? And how can we potentially improve it? So we will have about 45 to 50 minutes to cover that topic. So it seems the majority of you are willing to explore that. You are willing to take that risk. You might get information overload. There is no guarantee. I hope not. But 4 out of 6 teams, they are willing to explore the new topic. The other 2 are not. What do we do? Move on? New topic? Okay. All right. Let's take a break first. 15 minutes. We come back. We'll explore a new topic. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Welcome back. Okay. The bell does not have as much effect this year. In your temple, do you delay the start of a program or a class because there are not enough people in the audience yet? No? You should not punish those who come on time, right? So we should start on time. Okay. So you don't have that culture. You don't wait. You start your class on time?
Yes.
Your schedule, Aniruddha Prabhu, in your temple? Start on time? Okay, all right. So let's follow the culture of your temple. On time, quality management. Okay. So what does quality mean to you? Or what is quality? By definition, quality is the ability to meet or exceed customers' expectations. With what? With whatever you do. If you render a service, with that service, you should gauge your customers' expectations, and you provide that service in a way that their expectations are exceeded, at least met. Okay. If you do a product, then you do it in a way, or you give them what they're looking for, or more. If you give them more than what they're looking for, then they'll be happy. Okay. So everybody in agreement? And defect-free, meaning not that you give them something, or too much salt in the prasadam, or this box of sweets that they bought, not sugar, there's no sugar, forgot to put sugar, right? So we'll get into how you define quality for your particular zone, but this is the idea that 0 defects, no defect. Are we at that level? 0 defects? No? We're not? Well, now in the secular world, there is something called 0 defects. There are companies, they are called 6 Sigma companies, and their defect rate is 3.5 in 1 million. So if they have 1 million opportunities to interact with a customer, they will mess up only 3.5 times out of 1 million customers, 1 million opportunities. If they are making 1 million products of something, only 3.5 will be defective. They're called 6 Sigma company. How many of you already know that concept? Okay, all right, good. So this concept we can discuss, okay. Not everybody. Okay. There are companies that have a lot of defects. They have a lot of dissatisfied customers, but there are top in the game that we benchmark. We want to learn from them as to how they do it. Anyway, that discussion will come later. So in this definition, there are a few items. First of all, customer expectations. Who is a customer? Generally speaking, customer is defined as somebody who consumes your product or service. The consumer is your customer. For example, you make prasadam, right? Whoever is eating that prasadam, that person is your customer. You're giving a class, whoever is listening to your class is a customer. But there sometimes, before the product reaches the end consumer, it requires multiple steps. There are multiple people working on it. Somebody chopping the vegetables, somebody chancing them, and then somebody putting them in a bucket, and then serving it to the customer. So the first person who is chopping the vegetables, that person's customer is the one who is going to chance it, who is going to cook it, right? So the cook becomes a customer for the one who chopped the vegetables. That's called an internal customer. They are not eating, but they are going to use what you did. If you don't chop it properly, then that person can't do his or her job properly. He won't be satisfied, or she won't be satisfied. So that's an internal customer. Okay? External, everybody knows, the end consumer. He's generally, external means outside of your organization. Internal will be within your temple. Okay. All right, so the definition is clear. So ability, yes. Prabhuji, please take a microphone.
Internal, external, but consumer, you're saying consumer also.
Consumer will be the external. Consumer is external. Praneshwar Prabhu.
Is there an external customer for the person who is chopping the vegetables?
I'm sorry, is there an external customer for chopping? No, because your consumer is not going to use the chopped vegetables, right? He will not get the chopped vegetables. Chopped vegetables will be processed, and he'll get the finished product.
So sometimes what happens is, just a practical example,
Okay.
is that the person who is receiving the chopped vegetables, he's not going to eat the vegetables.
Yeah.
So what happens is, this person can chop in any way, make the chops big, because he's not thinking about the end user. He's not thinking about the final consumer. So instead, if he thinks of the final consumer, then he would chop more nicely.
Good point. So we should be concerned about both internal customer as well as external customer. Okay? The end consumer who is actually going to eat the final cooked vegetable, because if you chop them too big, he's not going to like it. But also the person who is internal customer, their job may become difficult because you didn't do your job right. Okay? Good point, Praneshwar Prabhu. Okay, so now let's talk about your specific zone or temple. Do you have a customer? If you have a customer, who is your customer? Just talk to the person sitting next to you and see if you agree. Please make 2 pairs, or you can talk as a team as you like. But talk to the person sitting next to you. Do you have a customer, and who is that customer?
Who's your customer?
No, this is your zone. Now it's not BBT anymore.
Outside.
Okay, we're not doing BBT anymore. This is your temple, your zone. Agreed already? Who is your customer?
As a temple president, Sankirtan department in charge is my customer, internal customer, and he's under. They are also customer remote. Then outside people, external customer.
Okay. So who is your, as a temple president, who is the end customer or the external customer?
Customer is outside people.
Outside people. But they come to your temple.
They come and sometimes our devotees goes there.
Okay. I think if you're looking at only Sankirtan department, yes. But how about the Sunday feast guests?
Sunday feast, the devotees are organizing. They are my internal customer, and the devotees are coming. The external customer.
As a temple president, you're not interacting with the end consumer?
Not always. Sometimes. Sometimes they are also internal customer. One day they will become devotee.
See, if you're the temple president, you have responsibility for the whole temple, right? So even though you have internal customers, but you are accountable. If your end customer is not happy, it will come to you. The temple president is not doing a good job. You mean, no, end customer may not come to you, but end customer will complain to somebody. Let's say they complain to the GBC, who will they call?
Sometimes they would come and complain.
Sometimes it depends who the customer is. There are people who can just say on your face.
Sometimes they talk indirect customer. Yes?
Direct, indirect. Okay? Yes, so that's another way of looking at it.
Indirect customer.
Kavi Kanpur. Please use a microphone.
For the internal customers, we have the residential devotees and
Okay, and first of all, you define who you are in the temple. What's your position in your zone?
temple president.
You're the temple president. Okay,
Yes.
so now please go ahead.
So we have the residential devotees as the internal customer and the congregational devotee.
Okay, so resident devotees and congregational devotees.
And the external customers, we have the society at large.
Society at large is your end consumer, okay?
Yes.
What do you think based on what he said? Okay, please give them a mic. Maybe next year we should have 6 mics.
Well, we discussed 2 customers, one internal customer and one external customer. In internal customer, congregation and full-time devotee.
Okay.
In full-time devotee, the children, women, non-initiated, initiated, sannyasis, senior devotee, junior devotee, just break down as much as you want to break down internal. External customer, there's someone who comes regularly to temple,
Okay.
someone who comes periodically, like once a week, someone who just come first time, and someone out there who has heard about temple but has not come.
Very good.
So that's external, and then potential customer.
Potential customer. Okay. Excellent. Okay.
In our circumstance, we can break it down even further. The external, we've got Hindus,
Okay.
right? And you do, and you've got Hindu old age people, you've got Hindu married couples whose children are going to school, you've got young couples who are just child rearing,
Okay.
you've got young couples without kids, you've got them going to university, they're still single. Now, each one of those you can cater for differently and expect differently. Then you've got the non-Hindus, in our case, the Aussies, but that can be Croatians, Greek, Italian.
Okay. So what we're doing here is called customer segmentation.
Yeah.
We are segmenting our customers into different categories. Very good. Please take the mic.
Even in Hindu,
Yeah.
there's someone believer of Krishna,
Yes.
someone believer of Shiva, somebody believer of Anuruddha Prabhu, he Lakshmi.
Very good. So you're right. I mean, customer is a very generic term. But if you really want to serve your customer, you got to understand what let's get to the next point. So what are your customers' expectations? So to answer that question, I'm glad you already answered that you're going to segment your customers and then look at each segment and see what their expectations are. So now take any segment. So tell us which segment, tell me or tell us which segment you are focusing on and what are their expectations. Have you ever thought about what their expectations are? Do you on a regular basis think about the expectations? Or are we in the same position as BBT, monopoly? Okay, so anyone who is, let's hear from Gormani, right? Yes.
Gopal Gurudas. Hare Krishna. So,
Gorgopal, I'm sorry.
Gopal Gurudas. We've got a very specific market which is young westernized students and professionals. And now we do that. Is it the Kaizen, that Japanese thing? So about 2 or 3 times a year, we're constantly reanalyzing the students and their habits and where they're at because they change so often. So basically, we've got these students and young professionals, and we keep on changing our programs according to their needs. So an example of this, we used to be quite heavy on the yoga, whereas recently then it's changed to kirtan. So we've been doing kirtan nights. And then, because we're always sitting down, anything with a pulse that comes into our center, we sit down and preach to it, to them. And, we kind of finding out what they're into. So then the latest thing now is meditation. So now we're actually kind of changing our programs more towards meditation, moving away from the yoga, because yoga, although it brings an income, it does not necessarily make us many devotees. So therefore we we basically analysed what they're interested in. So mainly for the students, it's cost effective. So first of all, it has to be a cost effective product that you're giving. And then the environment, very important.
Okay, so you are catering to your customers and you are figuring out their expectations.
Yes.
Right? Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Gopal Guru.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, anybody else? Are you doing this kind of analysis? Maharaj.
You go outside for book distribution, they said Krishna has given free Bhagavad Gita. Why are you charging for Bhagavad Gita?
Okay.
Their expectation, we should keep free Bhagavad Gita.
So, no, you are fine. See, when you deal with a customer and when they are not happy, and if they are bold enough, they'll let you know their expectation. We want to be proactive. Before they tell us, what their expectations are. Are we on our own proactively asking them or analyzing, like Gopal Guru Prabhu said, figuring out what their expectations might be? So who else? Kavi Karanpur?
What about in situation where you cannot fulfill the expectation of the customer?
Where you cannot?
Fulfill the expectation of the customer.
That's a separate point.
Yeah.
First, we have to gauge the expectation.
Like for instance, the customer, the expectation is for you to give them some material things, money.
No, see that point is separate. Evaluation will come later.
Oh.
Okay, first of all, are we making an attempt to understand our customer? Okay, let's go to Singapore, Devakinandan Prabhu.
Yeah, so in Singapore, we have a large group of corporate businessmen, professionals, and startup entrepreneurs. So we have registered the Artha Forum in Singapore. And the Artha Forum is a program or a platform where we invite them. We have His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Maharaj coming through. But their needs are how to deal with their business, how to try and understand ethics in business, how to balance a spiritual life in a business world. So what we cater to them is we understand that they like to be current with ethical concepts without the concept of spirituality. So we tend to get a panel of their own peers to start a topic. And after they finish discussing it on a material point of view, we then get a spiritual leader to speak.
Thank you very much for sharing the details. But at this point, let's focus our discussion on, are we trying to assess the needs of our customers? If so, because you heard there are so many different types of customers. You are doing it for one particular segment because that may be the most yielding, you get the most yield from them. They are big businessmen, they give you big donations. And also you want to influence that strata of the society. But given that there are so many different segments, are you doing a systematic analysis of each segment and trying to assess their expectations or not?
Yes.
So just you are, okay,
we are.
actively.
Yes,
Perfect.
we are.
Perfect.
That's how we came
Perfect.
to this
Let's
one.
go to Praneshwar Prabhu and then we'll come back to this table.
So, Prabhuji, we are here talking about reasonable expectations or unreasonable?
Well, as I said, that evaluation we'll make later. It may be unreasonable for you, but not for that person. Right? For example, if you ask me to leave class at 12:45, it may be reasonable for you, but not reasonable for me. Right? Not reasonable for Kontaya Prabhu. Okay. So let's go to this table.
Thank you very much. This is really something going in my brain, at least finally. Well, as we are talking about internal customer and external customer, the expectation of devotee, we call roti kapda makan. Take care of their, physical need, like have wonderful prasadam, proper clothing, good health-wise and all this thing, and engage them in their service, of course, sadhana and all this thing. Over and above, I think we should have meeting and or one-to-one, ask to those devotees, have develop personal relationship, ask to them, are you okay? Do you need anything or things like that? And that make a list. And you'll find many devotees have common expectation.
Yes.
They have common. So this is one. Second thing, for external customer, we do not know really. We know Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, we can preach and all these things. So for that, we have our well-wisher, like committee member and things like that. We ask them some suggestion or have suggestion box, in your temple and things like that. This for one and all. And they give their different suggestion and work from there to improve according to your facility, what you have and what you can do.
Okay. Very good. Given the large number of customers that come to your temple, this is an efficient, effective way that you use a suggestion box or you ask the well-wishers, people who interact with them, because you may not have the time to. So when we have to gauge expectations, it doesn't mean that we go to each and everybody and do it. We do a focus group. So that they're doing, some kind of sampling, and then they are extracting.
Like I'll
Very
give
good.
one example. In Juhu temple, we have fantastic committee. So we have a step. To go to temple, we have steps. No ramp.
Okay,
Dojde, not
okay,
today,
okay,
Dojde. So I just simply asked to our committee member that please give some suggestion. So one committee member said, temple is fine, everything first class, but you must know that people are growing old also. They are old people. There is no arrangement for wheelchair. There is no arrangement for wheelchair, which we never thought.
Yeah.
So ramp, wheelchair, and their pipe to hold, if they want to climb. Other thing, they gave suggestion, your shoes keeping place is there,
Yeah.
but you need something to wash the hand next door.
Perfect.
I mean, we never thought it,
Yes.
but they gave suggestion.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. You want to say something? Chaitanya Hari Prabhu.
After him.
Oh, I was just going to say, wouldn't when we all do festivals in our temples, be something like this? Because how to bring people to put something together that would satisfy their expectations to attract them to come in?
Okay. See, as I said, one thing is implicit. Obviously, we are thinking about our customer implicitly. Internally, we are geared towards our customer. When you have to give a class, you try to gauge who your audience is. You prepare a class according to the audience. But is there an explicit effort, like Devakinandan Prabhu mentioned? How internal devotees, they do 101. External customers, they have the well-wishers or a committee, suggestion box. So do you have any systematic effort in gauging the expectations of your customers? So the answer can be really brief. You don't have to give me what you do. Just tell me briefly whether you do it or not. Anirudh Prabhu?
Kind of.
Kind of? Okay, so
Yeah.
that means.
But I
maybe more-
wanted to make another comment, if it's okay.
Aren't you from the same zone, Gopal Guru and you?
No, he's in New Zealand. I live in Australia.
Oh, you're New Zealand. Okay.
He used to, Gopal Guru served in the Melbourne Temple for a number of years as my assistant, so we are closely connected, but
Okay,
we live in different cities.
Okay.
Prabhupada said that he created a market. He fulfilled customers' expectations that they didn't even know they had,
Good point.
right?
Yes.
So when he came to America, there wasn't a market for what he was
Yeah.
selling.
Excellent.
Right?
Yes.
And so in one sense, it's very interesting because we are constrained by what we deliver. And if our customer says, I want cigarettes and alcohol, we say, no.
All right. So
Right?
as I said, that evaluation determination will make later, whether
Yes.
it's relevant, not whether we can deliver or not. Okay, I'll take two more from here. Do you still want to say something?
Haribol. So there is to me, there's a big difference, when you have a customer coming from the culture, like India, because people are already in the culture, and when you act as we do in a Western country, where you have to bring the culture to the people. So one to me is a mistake that often I see that when the people they come, the newcomers, some devotees they start to preach immediately philosophy, and they don't know who they are, these people, and what they want. So how you can connect, how you can take care of the customer if you don't really know what is the expectation. And this is what Aniruddha said, that's real, that Prabhupada let us know something that we don't know, but it's also, we have to take very carefully this one, because it's one of the motivation that the Association for the Abuse of the People, they say that are creating problem to the people and after provide the way to solve, just to get customers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Ours, Budapest, is We're a Brahmachari community. And a few years ago, we became a Grihastha community, which is a very different thing. From almost one day to another, we had like 30, 40 kids. It was like 6 years ago. And now they are like 6 years old. So parents bring them, want to engage them, want us to engage their children. So this is, we are facing this, not problem, but this situation. So who I choose is the Grihastha community, our Grihasthas, and their expectations, which we have to very open, because very different when a single person comes, or Grihasthas. So their expectations are, when we have the program, which kind of programs we have, do we have facilities for their children, or for the, programs for the children, parents can take part in the programs, which kind of food we have, not too spicy for their children, which price, because if they come as a whole family, so these things.
So you are
Yes.
making an assessment?
Yes, yes.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. How do we address Aniruddha Prabhu's point? That when we are trying to assess customers' expectations, even though we're saying we're being proactive, but actually we're just being reactive. If we react to what the customer wants, that's not being innovative. Let me give you an example. What was that called? Sony came up with a Walkman. You know Walkman? A small thing with the headphones. Prior to that, it used to be all big stereos, boom boxes, right? If somebody were to go out, go have a picnic, they'll take this big box and put batteries in there and listen music. And then they came up with this very tiny Walkman that you could put in your pocket like this, okay? And have headphones and plays the same music. The customers did not express the need for having the Walkman. Sony was innovative, okay? So sometimes you have to kind of, without asking, the customer may not be able to express their need, but you have to gauge the need. Like Prabhupada you mentioned. He gauged the need in the Western world for spirituality, and he went there. He did not do a survey, he didn't do a focus group, he didn't ask. He followed the order of the spiritual master, but he also had the vision. So we have to do both. Sometimes we have to gauge. We may not get it from the customer. They may not tell us. We have to gauge what their needs are and then come up with those programs. But the point is that we have to make an explicit effort to understand who our customers are and what their needs are. Okay, Devakinandan Prabhu.
That's why I think sometimes they may not tell us directly out of respect for us or so forth, but they will talk to their friend.
Yeah.
They will tell their friend. Therefore, if you have advisory committee or some friend or somebody,
Yes.
can come forward. Or suggestion box. so they can-
Suggestion box, yes. Or just a survey from time to time, anonymous survey. Okay, very good. All right. What is your product or service? What do you give to customers? Devakinandan Prabhu.
Krishna consciousness in broad sense.
Broad sense Krishna consciousness. In specific terms, when a customer comes, what do they get? What do we give to them?
Create a good feeling in them.
Okay, we create a
Service.
good feeling. Okay, service. Okay.
Through-
Creating good
create a good feeling
good
in them.
impression. Okay.
By service or cleanness of temple, prasadam, this
Okay.
one, that one, so many things are there. But just create a good feeling.
Create a
People
good
wants
feeling.
to come back again and again and again.
Good, good, good. Gopal Guru Prabhu. Am I ignoring this side? Okay.
The our main product that we give is relationships, because part of this expectations is analysing the Western population because of family breakups, high divorce rates. There's a lot of emptiness and dissatisfaction in that sense. So therefore, we've created a centre in which people they come and then they get relationships. Now, the basis of that relationships is actually Krishna consciousness, but the whole setting, the whole environment, everything's done so they feel like this is my place, this is my place, and then we befriend them, make relationships with them, and then naturally we give them the service product of Krishna consciousness. So, yeah.
Very, very good. You're building on what Devakinandan Prabhu said, going a step further. Okay, Radhesham Prabhu and then Sri Jiva Prabhu.
The product we give them is Krishna. Krishna is actually bliss personified. He's emperor of sweetness. So when people come, the ultimate goal of all our putting up the movement and doing all these activities is to make sure they get the real product, which is Krishna.
Okay. Now, in a philosophical sense, what you said is absolutely right, broad sense. Now let's see, earlier we were talking about the mountain looking from a distance. We were talking about the future. Now we are looking at the trees in the forest. We are really close, okay? So our mindset should be different here. We're giving Krishna, but what does the customer actually get? Does he get something, he or she gets something tangible, something intangible? As they said, it's an experience, it's a good feeling, it's a relationship that they develop. So what is that specific thing that you give to the customer when they come to you? Sri Jiva Prabhu and then Chaitanya Avatari.
In fact, as I understood, Prabhupada wanted us to be a spiritual educational institution.
Okay.
But now we are known more like a Hindu temple. And one more thing I want to say previously, that we talk about customers, but most of the companies who deals with customers, they have a customer care department. But I've hardly seen any ISKCON society which has a customer care department.
Okay.
So that's lacking in us.
There is something called devotee care, so they have something for the internal customers, hopefully, if they have one. Okay. But no, I agree with you, okay? So there has to be a customer care department. Chaitanya Avatari Prabhu?
I think the important thing, as what Radhesham Prabhu mentioned, that we are giving Krishna, but the base feeling, anyone who walk into ISKCON or come in contact with ISKCON or devotees, is that we give love and care.
Okay, so you give love and
love
care.
and care.
Okay,
And
please finish your thought.
when we extend this service to them, and they feel like wanted in a place, because there's no dearth of temples in the world, and why we have to be unique. So in that process that we give knowledge, also alleviate the ignorance along with that.
Okay, so you give them knowledge.
Knowledge.
Okay, so this is what I'm looking for. So Radhesham Prabhu, I know you're doing an excellent job preaching, okay, you're taking care of your customers. But I want to extract from you in something tangible. I know you're giving people Krishna, they're accepting it. But what are the specific things that you give to them that meets their expectations?
Actually, what we give him is a product and everything else is package.
Okay.
I am very afraid of package because there is so much talk going on around the world about the package nowadays that they miss out the product.
Okay.
Therefore, I never mention the product at all. I mean, package at all.
Package at all.
I thought if let us hear many answers on package and I will tell the product.
Okay, no, but still to give Krishna, for example, you are giving classes on Krishna consciousness, you are offering some Krishna consciousness 101 courses, right? You have the apartments where students live, right? What do we call them? Bhakti habitats, right? So like this I want to hear. What is it that you are giving? It's not a package, but it's a part. It's a, what do you call it?
It's a capsule for giving the product.
Exactly, yes. It's a capsule for giving the product. Perfect. Okay. All right, let's go to Praneshwar Prabhu.
We have Charanamrit, we have books, we have DT Darshan, we have music, we have dance. All this can be also
Yes.
products.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Perfect. Keshav Murari Prabhu, what are you giving?
Hare Krishna. To achieve what Radhesham Prabhu has said, we have a product of Krishna, and just to give everyone Krishna, from first stage to end stage, we need to do so much. And that so much is called services. And
Okay.
these services are like atmosphere, to create a favorable atmosphere, cleanliness, and like he said, music, prashadam, and devotee care. So all these things which bring them from first stage to end stage, in the between, whatever we are doing, this all are services, so that we can make them comfortable, so that they can easily take this Krishna consciousness. Finally, the love and affection which they are not getting in the material world, by our services they can very easily come and comfortably take this all things. So these are the
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhu. You made it specific. There are some tangible things that you are giving, and there are some intangible services. I want to hear from Maharajas. They have been so quiet. Maharaj, you giving the most out to the society, and you're not sharing your secrets with us.
First thing, for internal customers like our devotees, they are expecting from the temple president and its leaders that they should be attending all the temple programs, and they should be very caring towards the devotees, and they should be providing nice prasadam, clothing, and other things. And they're expecting also justice and mercy both
Justice and mercy, okay.
in different situations. And when they see that the leader is very caring, taking care of them, and he is also inspiring them in Krishna consciousness, and also he himself is doing everything what he teaches, then the devotees become very inspired to do devotional service under the leadership of that leader. And for the external customers, like our visitors, they come and they expect a warm welcome from ISKCON temple, from ISKCON devotees, or whoever are there. They want to be welcomed by the devotee. Because in most of the cases it happens that any visitor comes, first thing we do, we approach for donation. Then they become fraud. So instead of approaching for donations in the very beginning, they should feel welcome when they come to the temple. And also they expect that the ISKCON temples, like Prabhupada said, that our program should be very punctual, on time, and the temple should be very neat and clean. So that impresses people.
Yes.
Even in Jagannath temple in Puri, that was not kept very clean. But the king of Puri, who was our life member, he visited our ISKCON temples in West and in different places, and he was very much impressed by the cleanness of ISKCON temples. And now, because he is the chairman of Jagannath Temple Management Committee, he introduced that thing in Jagannath Temple. Now they are trying to keep it clean.
Yeah.
Pardon? Which one?
Cockroaches.
Cockroach.
Cockroaches.
They're trying.
They're trying. They're working on it.
Trying to keep it clean.
Okay.
They're spitting everywhere, like, you know.
Okay.
So that has stopped.
That is tough.
They have put CCTV cameras everywhere to catch people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Thank
they're
you.
trying at least. So that has impressed the king of Puri, and I expect that other customers or other visitors are also impressed by ISKCON's neat and cleanness.
Okay.
And other temples are also following
Okay.
ISKCON's neat and cleanness, because in most of the Hindu temples, they don't keep it so much clean. So that is one aspect.
Okay.
And then prasadam. Prasadam quality should be
Prasadam quality.
very good.
Okay.
I have seen many people, they come to ISKCON restaurants, though there are so many vegetarian restaurants outside, but they like ISKCON restaurants because of the quality of the prasadam. And that was the strategy of Srila Prabhupada, to attract people through prasadam to Krishna consciousness. So that is also very important. The management or the temple patron has to see this, that the quality is maintained.
Yes.
In temple programs,
Sure.
in devotees' behavior towards visitors.
Okay. Yes.
And then also we have prasadam,
Prasadam, yes.
either restaurant prasadam or even general prasadam. The quality must be maintained.
Excellent, Maharaj.
And
Thank you.
then the books, that is our most important preaching tool. And everyone can be preached to take a Prabhupada book whenever he goes out from the temple. So they have to be, not to be pushed, but they have to be inspired to take the Prabhupada's books and read it.
Sure.
That should be the intention of the book distributors and also the temple patron who inspires the book distributors in the temple.
Thank you, Maharaj, for clearly identifying all the products and services that we deliver and how we should deliver. So books, prasadam, all these things we are giving service, experience, and how we come across our behavior and so on. Thank you very much. To hear from Bhakti Dhira Damodar Maharaj, what is our product? What do we give to our customers?
If I clearly understand this, it is service.
Service, okay, yes. Okay.
Because whatever product we have is secondary.
Yes.
The service will make our product useful.
Excellent.
So if people will look at us based on the service which we render, not just the product, because what brings people to devotees is how we relate with them. So if our service is wonderful, our product will be wonderful. So when I see any person, either our external customers or internal customers, what I have in my mind is only one expectation. That expectation, they may have so many things to ask from us, but only one expectation I have for everybody is they are missing Krishna consciousness. That is my expectation for anybody. Therefore, I may listen to whatever expectations you have, but in my mind, I concentrate on what is actually the problem they need.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Yes. Okay. Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj, please tell us what's your perception of what we give to our customers and what do they expect?
I think the prime and only product that we have is Krishna consciousness, but we give it through the following means, which is what is expected by our customers. Number one, Krishna consciousness is given through knowledge. That's very important. Through classes, discussions, etc. Informative, inspiring classes and discussions and books.
Okay.
Number two, it is good behavior of the devotees and good relationships and good dealings. Because many times people don't care so much for the philosophy. They just look at the way people deal, the way people behave, amongst themselves even. They note how devotees behave amongst themselves. And three, I think that's part of the second, is good role models. And that includes a good spiritual atmosphere. If they come, they find a very godly, divine atmosphere in which people are behaving nicely, they get a lot of knowledge, everything is neat, clean, then that's the perfect delivery of our product.
Perfect, Maharaj. Excellent. And as if I had read your minds and prepared the next, not this one, but this slide. Since we are a service, service quality is defined in 5 dimensions. And that's Maharaj and Prabhu's, everything that you said is encapsulated here. Reliability. Reliability means performing our service accurately and dependably. If our temple Aarti has to be at 7 a.m., it is at 7 a.m. If the class is scheduled for 45 minutes, it runs for 45 minutes. If we are open 365 days, we are open 365. So whatever hours we say we are open, we are open. So we are dependable and we are accurate in what we give. So for example, somebody asks for a book, we give them the right book that they want. No torn pages inside, not defective product. Responsiveness. Responsiveness is if somebody asks you a question, sends you an email, leaves a voicemail on your answering machine. How long do you take to respond? They may be new, right? They may have a question. How responsive are we to, how willing are we to help customers? I know this is our core philosophy. We are here to help other people. But many a times, many temples, I don't know about your zone, they have an answering machine. That will be rarely ever checked. Because who wants to waste their time with these random questions, right? But these random questions are our potential devotees, people who are asking these random questions. Either not have an answering machine, because if you have an answering machine, now you have set an expectation that they can leave a message and expect to hear back from you. Somebody writes you an email, either don't have that system, tell them I don't accept any emails, we don't respond to any questions. Come to the temple and we talk face to face. But if you give your address, info@lagunatemple.com, then somebody has to monitor that email address and respond to the needs. Assurance. Maharajas, you mentioned that, all Maharajas mentioned this, how we come across. We have to assure that person who is receiving Krishna consciousness from us that yes, we can deliver. Yes, we are qualified. If you have to get something repaired, let's say your iPhone, you don't bring it to any mechanic who can fix a battery, a flashlight, right? You want to go to a person who deals with iPhones. Or if you have, a good car, you want to go to a good mechanic. You need help with your health, you go to a good physician, good doctor. Similarly, we are doctors in the society. So we have to kind of carry that with us, how we conduct ourselves. We have to also make them feel confident that yes, we can deliver them. They should also be able to trust what we give. And empathy, ability to understand what their needs are when they are approaching us. I mean, at broad level, yes, we understand everybody needs Krishna consciousness. They are suffering. But when they approach you as an individual, what is their specific problem at the time? And how can I help? That's empathy. Understand their difficulties because, we may not always relate. I am a grihastha, so I may not relate to a brahmachari's problems, right? And a brahmachari likewise may not fully understand the needs of a married couple. Okay? But our sannyasis, they are empowered, they understand everybody's needs. They are doing great. And Keshav Murari Prabhu mentioned, and many of you mentioned, about tangibles, and Praneshwar Prabhu also. The Charanamrit that we give, the cleanliness, quality of the garlands that we offer to the deities and we do offer to the guests. Sometimes the garlands that we offer, they are 3 days, 4 days old, they are withered already. Do you really want to offer that to your guests? They are Mahaprasad, no doubt. But a person who is coming for the first time, they don't have that concept of Mahaprasad, that no matter how old it is still Mahaprasad. Okay? So, tangibles, how good are facilities, and Maharaj, Bhakti Gaurav Narayan Maharaj, yes? So he mentioned this so nicely. So everything that you said is encapsulated here. And this is a model from the secular world. So I am really happy, inspired that you all have figured this out without knowing that this model exists. And they have figured it out too as to what they have to do. Yes, Rishi Prabhu.
I had a thought that...
Please use the microphone.
I had a thought, I'm not sure how correct it will be, that there are several departments in a temple who probably will never get a chance to interact with an external customer. So is this thought correct that while they may have internal customers, their service is to ensure that the housekeeping or the administrative work or whatever has to keep the fires burning within the temple is taken care of them by nicely, so that it releases the anxiety on the part of the external customer facing people. To that extent, they may only have internal customers, but their job is to ensure that they're removing the anxiety of the external customer facing devotees.
Primarily, yes, that's their primary duty. But I think everybody would do better if they understood who the end consumer is. Even if they are not directly dealing with them, but they are indirectly dealing with their customers. So if they understand what their expectations are, they will do better in their respective jobs. But primarily speaking, yes, what you said, that will do the job. But we want to be defect-free, 0 defects, right? Or 3.4 out of a million.
This is the reason I came to it, because one aspect of 0 defect is that if I am producing a NASA rocket, I am part of the assembly line. My job is to just ensure that the bolt is tightened every time without fail. I don't need to worry about the propulsion of the rocket. So this is the one thought that comes in.
But if I understand how the rocket propels and what's the role of this bolt in the bigger picture, I'll do a better job.
I would appreciate it better. Yeah.
Right? Okay. All right. So thank you very much. I think we have evaluations, right? So this is my last session today. And as I told you earlier, my inspiration to come here was to know you better and to offer my respects to you for all the great work that you do. And I will be in contact with you for the next 1 year via email, maybe sometimes. We'll have conference calls too for our action learning projects. So from the core of my heart, I express my gratitude to all of you for allowing me, your association, and for allowing me to stand here and talk to you even when you had long days and maybe sleepless nights, because you're also dealing with your zones and you are a little tired and sleepy, but you still did not interfere with what I had to say. I appreciate that. And for your contributions that you made, that hopefully made this class or this session a little bit easy to grasp. Okay. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon. Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhevcha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Shriman Rupanuga Prabhu, for taking all this sacrifice in terms of time, energy, and Lakshmi to come here and serve the Vaishnavas. So please take 1 or 2 minutes to write down feedback. So we resume at 3:30. I've seen a little slacking in coming back in the afternoon, but I'm sure you'll resolve it. And please bring your computers, your laptops, because in the second session we'll need them to familiarize with the website functioning. So if you brought your laptop, computer, iPad, bring it to the class. Thank you very much again, Rupanuga Prabhu.
Thank you for the support and guidance.
And we also thank very much Premanjana Mataji, who came alongside. She's the First Lady of the GBC College for Leadership Development. She's a professional lady too. Maybe next time we'll get her to teach something also. Hare Krishna. So as soon as you are done, you can hand over your feedback form. Just raise your hand and assistant will be there. See you all at 3:30 p.m. Hare Krishna.